Continuing page 12, printed calendar. Next bill up is House Bill 203, a bill to amend and reenact a section of the Code of Virginia relating to financial institutions, qualified education loan servicers, definitions. The bill is brought for the Committee on Commerce and Energy.
The delegate from Fauquier, Delegate Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, HB 203 is a bipartisan legislation. Senator Lewis is carrying the companion on the Senate side that makes a small but necessary correction to the law to exempt state and nonprofit guarantee agencies and other credit counselors from the definition of student loan servicer. Guarantee agencies do not service loans. They do not accept or apply payments or maintain borrower accounts, but they do provide default counseling. And because of that, the current law regulates them the same as a servicer. Regulating guarantee agencies in this matter is preempted by federal law, something we can easily fix by switching the or to an and in the definition of student loan servicer and servicing. This change preserves the spirit of the original bill and leaves all borrower protections intact. And I move that the body engross the bill and pass it on to its third reading.
Mr. Speaker.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Speaking to the bill, my light is pressed here. I'm sorry if it's not connected.
I will alert the authorities.
Okay. I thought somebody disconnected. I thought I saw something suspicious.
The delegate from Fairfax, Delegate Simon.
Mr. Speaker, members of the House, speaking to the bill. So let's talk about the original intent of the bill. It's interesting that that's the way it gets spun. Having been the patron of the original bill, I can tell you that that is not, in fact, the case. I can tell you that ECMC, so this is really about one company, right? This is about a guaranteed company called ECMC. They're a nonprofit. And they're a guarantee agency, which means essentially they function as a collections agent for the government, right? They're supposed to avoid defaults. They have incentives to prevent people from defaulting. Once they start to get in default, there's a 60-day grace period that they have to get back, and that's generally when ECMC kicks into action, right? And that's when they're supposed to start contacting borrowers and explain to them the different options they have to avoid default on their loans and get back good. And they can avoid collection fees, in fact, if they get that done within not only 60, but 65 days. There's sort of a 5-day grace period that's built in there for mailing. And what ECMC does, and what the CFPB has found that they've done, is they will string them along until day 66. So they incur the collection fees, then they'll get them in a repayment program. Right? This is exactly the kind of deceptive practice that the Student Loan Borrower Bill of Rights was meant to ensure against, to stop people from being able to do. ECMC came to us in 2020 when this bill was originally put in and asked to be exempted. They said, we'd like to be out. We think we're different. We're a different category. We looked at what they did. We looked at what they were up to. They said, oh, we're regulated by the feds. Turns out 7 days prior to voting on this bill on the floor in 2020, the 11th Circuit was adjudicating a complaint against ECMC and said they couldn't actually regulate them under federal law. So there's actually an important service that's being provided by having this done under state law here in Virginia. And the preemption argument is one that they've tried to litigate. So after they asked us to change the bill, after they asked Senator Howell to change the bill, after we wouldn't do it, after they asked the governor to change the bill and he wouldn't do it, after the regulations were implemented, they went to the State Corporation Commission and said, well, you guys apply rules. You need to exempt us because we're federally preempted. They lost the case there. They've lost this question over and over and over again. They're here looking for a third or fourth or fifth bite at the apple, Mr. Chairman, because we had an election result. They realized I wouldn't be there to stop them necessarily. I hope that they're wrong about that. I know that you guys care about student borrowers. I want to applaud for a change. I will tell you one thing I think the Attorney General did really well is he just took action at the Attorney General's office to voluntarily stop racking up late fees on student borrowers who owed student debt to colleges in Virginia, which I think is a great thing that he's done because, and he said in a statement, student loan borrowers who are in default are in need of our help. They're not in need of piling on with more fees and more collection activities. Mr. Speaker, members of the House, this should be a bipartisan bill this should be a bipartisan vote to take this bill down. I hope that we will not engross it. I hope we won't pass on to its third reading. I hope we won't pass a bill in service of one particular servicer who thought they could sneak this one by you by telling you it was a technical change that met the original intent of the bill, when I can tell you as the author of the original bill, that is not the case. So if they're lying to you, they're lying to student loan borrowers, we should not give them this exception. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.